With the midterms now only a handful of days away, many people are viewing this election in the same context as the 2016 presidential election. President Trump will cast a long shadow over the 468 House and Senate contest to be decided on November 6th, but he's not on the ballot, so the dynamic is different, and Republicans hoping to hold the House and Senate will be swimming upstream against history. Let's take a look at long-established midterm election patterns, starting with fact number one. The party not holding the White House almost always gains seats. Over 90% of midterm elections since the Civil War resulted in the party not holding the presidency, gaining seats in the House of Representatives, and 70% have resulted in the out-of-power party gaining seats in the Senate. This is likely the simple result of human behavior. When your candidate wins the presidency, there's a tendency to become complacent 2 years later. But if your candidate for president loses, you become intent on doing all you can to weaken his grip on power. Fact two, the Democrats' need for 23 seats to take control of the U.S. House is not as daunting as it might appear. The average gains achieved by the party not holding the presidency is 30 seats in the House and 4 in the Senate. And some midterms in recent times have resulted in dramatic reversals. In 1994, Republicans gained 54 seats in the House and 8 in the Senate. In 2010, the GOP picked up a whopping 63 seats in the House and 6 in the Senate. So 23 seats is certainly an achievable objective for Democrats. Fact three, midterm elections do not always focus on the economy. While the economy is almost always the top issue in presidential elections, midterm voters will not always reward the president's party for a strong economy like the one we're experiencing now. Bill Clinton won the presidency on the strength of the famous advice, "It's the economy, stupid." The economy did improve, but the Gingrich Revolution still happened 2 years later. In the next presidential election in 1996, Clinton was rewarded for a strong economy with an easy re-election victory. George W. Bush was elected president twice, but in the midst of a healthy economy in 2006, Democrats still managed to pick up 31 seats in the House and 6 in the Senate, taking control of both chambers of Congress. Fact four, Americans have proven to prefer divided government. Americans in recent times have generally been wary of single-party control of the White House, Senate, and House of Representatives. That was not the case with the longest-serving president in American history, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, elected 4 times to the presidency while his fellow Democrats controlled the House and Senate. But that was in the midst of a depression and a world war on 2 fronts. Since then, the voters have frequently flipped the House, Senate, and presidency. Perhaps the most glaring example of voters' disdain for one-party rule is that over 200 U.S. counties that voted for Barack Obama twice then voted for Donald Trump. And fact five, voters prefer that a party hold the presidency for 8 years and no more. As we look ahead to 2020, history suggests that President Trump will be well positioned for re-election, especially if the economy continues on its current path. Over the past half-century, we have seen John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson as his stand-in after the JFK assassination, along with Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, all elected and re-elected. Only Jimmy Carter and George H.W. Bush were denied re-election. After every one of those 6 two-term presidencies over the last 50 years, voters went for the opposing party. So while Donald Trump will likely be a solid favorite to win re-election in 2020, absent dramatic intervening events, there is hardly such assurance for Republicans in these upcoming midterms. While they are well positioned to maintain control of the Senate, Republican hopes in the House rest not so much on gaining seats, but on limiting their net losses to less than 23 seats, thus continuing their control of the levers of power.